Mwami Balikoowa. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm very excited that I was jumping straight into the subject, but with me I have Mr. Centurio Balikoowa, and this man has been very, very, very instrumental to see that the competitions for MDD for schools have been really a success. You're welcome, Mr. Centurio.
Thank you very much, Brother Edwin.
How have you been?
We are fine. We are pushing on. Yeah.
How has COVID treated you?
Busy washing our hands. By the time you go back, the color has changed.
We're about to as if we are
this
bleaching.
side is yellow, the other is brown. Sometimes what you use for cleaning your hand, you can't tell the smell. You know? It's terrible.
Okay, it's good to meet you.
Thank you.
This year, you've not really held the festivals for primary school. But anyway, before I dive into that, tell me about Mr. Balikoowa in 5 minutes. Where did you study? How did you go through the ranks? Where did you get interest for performing arts?
Yes.
And what are you doing now?
I was born in Busoga, in a village called Kibale, Nabisoji. Then from there, I started from P1 up to P4. Then they picked me from there.
I thought they chased you.
They picked me from there because of the talent. They brought me to Muiri. So from P4 up to P7, I was in Muiri Primary School, boarding school for boys, and I studied free of charge. After that, as I was there in the performance, I played the lyre, and I was given a scholarship to study free until I finished. So by that time, we used to have a gentleman called Letka Busulwa Katampola, Stephen. He was a teacher and the head of department in Makere College. So when he came there, he saw me performing. He said, no, this boy is very good. After, when I finished my P7, he came and picked me. He brought me to Ndere Troop. And when I went to Ndere Troop, because it was in Makere College, so he took me to Makere College. And when I went to Makere College, there was a head teacher called Kasolo Kimuli. He really loved my name, Centurio. And in senior 1, senior 2, we used to have a lady called Magero. She was the deputy head teacher. She's the one who used to sign the IDs. But because of the uniqueness of the name, that head teacher said, I'm going to sign only your ID only. So he signed my name, my ID. And even when we were at assembly, you not at Dodge assembly, because he always asked me, where is the man of the century? He used to call me man of the century. So from there, I finished. Then Busulwa really said, no, you cannot. Because as I was a student, I would take my fellow students, the music, the instruments. He said, you are really a real teacher. So he said, no, you must join in that profession because you're already there.
Yes.
So I joined. After that, I went to Makerere, MDD. After Makerere MDD, then as I was from there, I went to police student school as a teacher. And I was training. Then from there, I went to Chibuye. From there, when there was a gentleman in the Ministry of Education and Sports called Kakoza Vincent. He was a very, very great friend of mine. By that time, he was in charge of MDD, basic education. So he picked me, said, you man, you are very hardworking. So he took me to the ministry. He trained me how to do these things. It was between me, him, and we will go to UNICEF. You know, UNICEF is the one that we use to support our festivals. So I make the budget, I do everything. That's how he picked me. And from there, I start now helping my fellow trainers and teachers. I stopped training because when I came this side and you had to be neutral so that I don't have any side. So from there, from 2005, when I joined, up to today, I've been helping to coordinate these festivals, to help with the budgeting, to coordinate between the ministry, our ministry, the partners, the UNICEF. Last year, but one we had the Global Fund and the TASO. So it has been between that I've been. I come this side, do some work, then I go and help my mother ministry, the Ministry of Education and Sports. So that's the man of the century, briefly.
Wow, you've been around.
Yes, please. I've been there.
how did these festivals start?
These festivals started some years back. They started as church music.
Yes.
They were only church, these hymns, without drums, without anything. It was only church music. They would sing their hymns in English sometimes. And that's why most of those who studied in those Anglican schools, and they used to learn how to sing solfege. So it was only church music. Then later, it started graduating. And from there now, we start now adding in to other items. From church, we went to composition.
Yes.
But composition would be in the local language. Then, of course, with our composition, they used to put in drums. But before that, the drums were not allowed in the other church music. It was only purely church and keyboard. Then when they added in those the original compositions, it came now to other items like instrumental. We started slowly adding in. As I talk now, we have over 10 items. We have instrumental composition, we have folk songs, we have original composition, we have drama, we have poems, speeches.
Yes.
We have all that, a creative dance, traditional dances, traditional folk songs. So there are over 10 items, or sometimes we go to 11. Sometimes we used even to have solo, but because the items were so many, we had to reduce to 10, sometimes 11. So that it started at the church, but now as I talk now, it has gone beyond that. We have over that.
Wow. And how do you choose which school to come? Because Uganda has a lot of schools. I think Kawempe alone may have over even 2,000 schools.
I agree.
So
now,
which measure do you use?
Now, in the beginning, when we had just started, we used to have every district would bring a school. So by that time, we had about 52 districts.
Yes.
But as
So
I
it was
talk now,
easier.
it was easier. And some schools will not be able to bring the school, the school. So you find that out of 52, we'll have about 30, 25. But when it came to now to this number of adding more, creating districts,
Yes.
it has become now, it was difficult to bring it, each district to bring it. Otherwise, we will have a whole month for having a festival, which is costly. So what we did was now to break our district, our country into sub-regions, what we call music regions.
Yes.
In Uganda, we have, alone in Uganda, we have Ndingidi, we have Nankasa, we have Madinda. So now when you find that in Kampala here alone, we have a region for Kampala, and it's called the Ngoma region. So we find that Kawempe will compete, Makinde will compete,
Yes.
Rubaga, and after that, we pick one school from each of those, because now those are districts.
Yes.
We pick one, so there will be 5 schools, plus the defending champion of the previous year.
Yes.
So there will be 6. Now, out of 6, they compete and we pick 2. So for other regions, like when we go to Soga, there are 2. There is Nkwanzi, there is Nalufuka. When you go to Mbale, there is Luengere. When you go to then Fumbo of this side of the Chapadola. Then in Kalamoja we have what we call Dalupepe. In Igulu we have Nanga. In this side of Western we have Kachenche, that's the Ankole. In Kabale we have Kinimba. In this Western of the Hoima we have the Lunyege. So you find that we pick out of that. Now, if there are 10 schools, we have a ratio of 3. If there are 10 schools, we bring 3 schools.
Yes.
If there are 9 schools, we bring 3. Out of those regions, because we have the Eastern region, that is Busoga.
Yes.
Then we have Northeastern, that's the Kalamoja. Then Busoga and that side of. Then we have the Luengere. We have when we are having also, we have the northern, then we have the western. So you have out of the regions, we pick, that's the ratio we have. At the end of the day, we can have about 45 schools or 50. After we find that when a region we are picked 3, we are picked 2, we are picked 4, depending on the number of schools that participated.
Okay, Mr. Balikoowa.
Yes, please.
Your statistics are really good, but now I'm wondering, don't you think you have a role to play for music teachers, drama teachers, dance teachers to be put on the government payroll? Because personally, I always go and adjudicate in schools, and what you find, the head teachers bragging Can you imagine we did only rehearsals for 2 weeks? Well, of course, you've given comments not to frustrate the performance.
True, yes.
I mean, it's not that they are good.
Yes.
They really need to do it and
lot,
do it every day, actually. So what role, don't you think you have a role to play to see that at least schools have teachers that are specifically for arts and on government payrolls? Won't that help?
In fact, to me, that's a very good idea. Because we have so many trainers, but these trainers that have been benefiting out of this festival because just during the festivals when they go and train. But after the festival, sometimes they don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
Apart from those good schools that they teach music within the schools and they don't have competent teachers, they contact those teachers. But so we are planning, the ministry and the organizers, they were thinking of having what we call the refresh course.
Yes.
It can be during holidays, so that at the end of the day, those people, they have already their knowledge.
Yes.
But what they need is now to have that professional touch, because most of them are educated.
Yes.
So that they can have that course for 2 years or 2 years. They do it in holidays when they are free.
Yes.
So that at the end of the day, they are recognized as teachers. Because most of them, they are not teachers. They are, some of them are engineers, some of them, but they have the music. You remember the late Seru Kenya?
Yes.
Late Seru Kenya was a wonderful music.
An engineer.
I performed with him here. We played a song of something like that.
Yes.
And the man, I said, are you a
He
teacher?
wrote all the music in Song of Wankoko,
He was
Kulabako.
exactly, but he was not a teacher.
Yes.
He was an engineer. So we find that some of those, because most of these people, it's so very difficult to change them that one day you should all become teachers. No, some of them have their professions, but they are music lovers. They have the knowledge. So what we need to do is to see how can the ministry harmonize it with those, so that now they have like a course between, so that at the end of the day, they can now be put on the government payroll. Because with the government payroll, you cannot do it without, unless you have that professional certificate.
And also to be put on the timetable.
Exactly.
So that at this time, at 9 a.m. we're having a music class. Not after school,
when they are
a few people go who love it. I think we need to take it more serious.
Once we do that, because now music is a timetable subject.
Yes.
In fact, these festivals we do, it is out of the practical part of it, of the teaching in the class. That's why the schools like Mugwanya, schools like Namiryango, schools like Parental Care, schools like Kireva's Origin, those schools, they don't do music just because of the festivals. Music is part of, within the system, is within the culture. So that this festival, part of the festival, is just practical part of it. That's why they perform very well on the site, because when the site, they have been reading it, and site, you cannot do it because of the festival. Site, children must get the concept properly. So you find that those schools that teach music, with the festival, they don't have, it's just a walkover.
Mr. Balikoowa, you should give us a few tips. Me, and maybe there are some people out there who are like me.
Yes.
Why I stopped to train in schools is because I couldn't copy. Today you have these kids coming to rehearse. Tomorrow you are looking for them, or some have a test, or some went for a badminton tournament. Then you recast. Then those you have recast, then the following day, they have gone for an agriculture seminar. Then what? It was hectic.
True.
So I said, let me just adjudicate. How do you go about such challenges in training in schools?
Now, you know, when these competitions became very intensive and tough, you find that the school administrators, the head teachers, the directors, will surrender. They will pick the choir out of these other children. Because now these festivals, they don't begin just from the festival straight. When we go, we start with what we call the regional workshops.
Yes.
National organizers, they organize the workshop, which is sponsored by the partners. We go and train in those regions. After training, these people we have trained, it's called the TOT, trainer of trainers. They go and train their fellow teachers at the district level.
Yes.
Then after training the fellow teachers, they now go for what we call the inter-class or inter-house or inter-color at the school level. Then from there, out of that inter-class, inter-color, because when a child is in a class, they know that they are fighting for that bull or a goat within the school. So they come out clear and they go and compete. Then they pick the best during that inter-class or inter-color. So after picking the best, then those are the people that they get as choirs. Now, when they get that choir, the school administrators and the head of department, the directors, they have now to surrender these children. That they have even a timetable. Like where we have been, we have the timetable that at this time, which is music, and even a room for that.
Yes.
Not just sing from outside where people will just
under the tree,
they are
distracted.
As you are saying, they are looking this side. By the time you get the key, they are looking that side. Then so they have at least a designated area, so that they go and meet there, and so that by the time we come for, you don't have we don't suffer. You say I'll be there at 4. But you reach there when the children are ready. The head teacher or head of department, they organize those children for you.
But Mr. Balikoowa,
yes.
I've seen one item which is really suffering.
Yes.
It's a sight singing. It is really suffering.
Yes.
Are there any measures to make it better?
Now,
I watch it here at the theater and say,
and so
no,
you see them talking, and they look at themselves and start laughing. No, so, in fact, there's a time when I went to adjudicate, and you know when you're an adjudicator, sometimes you have to keep the laughter inside, and you laugh after the field activity. For them, the man said, they had people singing inside. Then they said, hey, this side, no, you organize the children. We organize the children. So they organize the children. We're in Kaboa. So the teacher organized the children. For them, they say, you talk them through do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's so familiar. So they say, time, please bring the children. So they go. As the children were singing, the man was laughing. For them, they came with their music. They started do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, which was not there at all.
We are finished.
So sight singing has been a big problem
How?
until when people realized that because you know even if you win in these other items and a choir comes and they beat you by 20 marks at national or 10 inside, that finished. You cannot manage. So what they did now, it was to concentrate on sight, getting people who are competent. Now taking even music in the classes, because we used to tell them that you cannot just wake up and go for
in 2 weeks and sight singing.
So now the music has to be followed on the timetable at school, because music is a part of the subject.
Yes. Actually, some schools on the blackboards on the sides.
Yes, they put.
Already it's their standard.
Yes.
They put the solfa
notation, so that they go through and every day, because it's a daily activity. This school called the Kireva's Origin. Kireva's Origin came once. And they managed to penetrate through from Kampala up to national. Even the Uganda Road, what they did was to start slowly with sight singing. I talked to the head teacher of Uganda Road, Mr. Seng and David. He told me that I'm going for the festival in next year. I said, hey, but next year when you're planning? He said, yes. So he started now, he got some good trainers. They started drilling, because the child who has performed very well in sight singing will be able to sing very well Western.
Yes, exactly.
So those are two already finished. So that if you fail sight, then even in Western, there will be a problem. Because what you sing in Western is almost the same thing. Which
exactly.
Is,
you need to read the music.
Sight was a big problem. In fact, here, and to make the matters worse, with sight, it's not easy to eat.
Yeah.
They bring the teachers here. The teachers sit there, and the children are alone. So you find even a teacher sweating there when the child gamble.
I saw Mr. Cameron to hear on stage.
Mr. Cameron, they give the kid, they look at him. They give again, they look at him. There's a time when there was a gentleman called, he was from Masaka. He came here and that was one time, he gave sight singing. He gave the kid, the second one, then he started conducting. These children were just looking at him. Then after that, he finished, then he said, go out. The school called civil show from Umbali. They got a 0. 0. Sight
you can don't give them something for appearing.
At how? We have not even opened the mouth. There's no need of smartness. With the sight, you know that sight is an item where you can get even 100 out of 100, or where you can get a 0. Because it is very easy to get it and very difficult. You can fail it easily.
Okay. Mr. Centurio, there is There's a culture in schools. I don't know if it has reached the primary school competitions for MDD, but these independent competitions, it happens where trainers or patrons actually for houses bias the kids that you see they are going to cheat us. They are before they even perform, and after the competition, you see people becoming violent, the school becoming rowdy.
Yes.
Do you face that in also the primary school?
It happened here in 2015.
I remember that.
And I was here also already. So what happened, that these trainers, some trainers have weaknesses. You know, you cannot be all round.
Yes, you
with those
can't know
items.
everything.
So when they are getting the contracts with the head teachers and the directors, they promise them that they are the best. They even tell the children, we are the best. And you cannot say you are the best. I told you that we are picking one school, and number 1 and 2 in all these regions.
Yes.
You have not looked at what is happening in Karamoja.
Yes.
You don't know what's happening in the west. You don't know what's happening in the north. So you cannot say you are the best. So with festivals, you must appear there, and then people judge you. You cannot. It's not like sports where you can say get home your marks and go, and they see this one is the number one. So now what happened, that some of those people talk like that, they bias the children. And also, the directors also, they have that, use that, I think they are not well informed.
Yes.
That the thing, what you perform, that's what they give. You know when people are performing. Even if you give comments, sometimes you say, don't, it's just to encourage the choir to perform well.
Yes.
Now,
I may not say the ugly.
You have to
sugarcoat
it so that people really can look. But you know, that's why we had even about 2 years back, our commissioner, Dr. Mkasalo Sambo, we organized what we call Adjudicators Workshop.
Yes. So
what we did was to go and train these adjudicators, because we said that at the first level, the adjudicator that normally people are picked there, who don't know anything. And even what I did was to have what we call the standardized adjudication sheet.
Yes.
So that whatever people use here for adjudication is the same that is used for up to national. Because people used to create their own things. Someone will come, and there was an adjudicator who said that they was adjudicating instrumental composition. And you know these pan pipes the people borrow. So the other one said, those what? The bamboo whistles. We are blown badly that these pan pipes are bamboo whistles. Those bamboo whistles, we are blown badly.
But don't you think it is also upon us, the cultural center, and you guys, to have standard people qualifying to be adjudicators at that level, so that they have something to show.
Yes.
They qualify, actually. Because now I can go and
anybody can go.
That I can teach sight singing.
Yes.
And because they see me on
they
TV,
know
they
you,
can say, this
yes,
man will
the
do
best.
the job.
He's a national man. In fact, there was a year when someone was picked in Ruero. Because this person was singing in a church music.
Yes.
He was a very good tenor singer. So the man said, but this man is ever singing. You can let him come and adjudicate. When he came, did you do anything? Then even there was a time when people from the West Nile, they picked their chief. You know, this chief in the kingdom.
Yes.
They said, this is a cultural festival.
So
we must bring our chief, our cultural person. So the man was well dressed. He was well fed because he was the king. And the man was there. The chief was just smiling. He was just smiling. So at the end of the day, there were 10 schools. Now we were supposed to bring only 2 schools. The man stood up and said, "Oh, Bananga, thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here." And the performance was wow. Then they were waiting to the 2 schools. Said, but now when I looked at the performance, this is our culture. And everything was good. I cannot pick the 2 schools. Everybody was good.
Wow.
Now we said the 10 schools cannot come. So we have to send the other adjudicators to go and handle them. So what I was saying, if we can be organized with the cultural center, so that we have our panels of adjudicators.
Yes.
Because we have now all these people that we know that they are competent, we have them on fingertip. We even have what we call the refresh course.
Yes,
so exactly. That refresh course, so that we take them through.
We should put calls out there.
We have the drama, we have the poem,
exactly.
so that we do it practically, where we can even demonstrate we have it. We can have a workshop for like maybe 2-3 days.
We can even test them because you see like sports, the referees are taken for courses. You pass or you fail. So.
Yeah, we can even use our document, our things we record. And so now, you people, you adjudicate that and we see, give the comments and even give marks individually. So that at the end of the day, we have, you know, there was a gentleman called Kakudidi. He died some time back. This man had, he had all the adjudicators on fingertip. You look at it and say, yes, I know you. You are so and so. But so if Cultural Centre can collaborate with the Ministry of Education, then we collaborate with our chairperson and the district chairperson, the regional chairperson, the inspectors. We come up with our list.
Yes.
And we say these are for the first level. Yes, then even national festival, we can have a mix. We can have, like this year we are having, these are the people who are going to adjudicate national. Next year we change the panel.
Exactly.
So that people don't get used. So that by the time the school comes, that's why some people keep on complaining that maybe they have cheated because they know that so and so is going to adjudicate this item. But if we have a proper panel,
yes,
and we know that these are our people, we can just mingle, say, for you are going to adjudicate region, you adjudicate national, and you know that they will do the work.
Exactly.
So that one is now upon the National Theatre, Cultural Centre, so that we see, because this thing will continue, and at the end of the day, we want something that is going to defend the person who has adjudicated, and is going to help the choir, and it's going to help the teacher. So that at the end of the day, there is an improvement.
Talking of helping,
yes,
are there any products that you can brag about that you have gotten out of these MDD festivals of primary schools?
There are so many. Because when I talk of when we were in the police student school, most of our children, we used to train them all these items, because by that time I was in Ndere. So a half of Ndere product was from police and the Nakivubo and the Kiwiye. So I find that most of those, even when I used to go to Beranyanje girls, Kansime, and that one is my product. This lady of Bob Wine with my product, that one Itungo. She was a very good singer. She used to sing a solo very well. That was Beranyanje. Then there was even a lady called the Gloria Gift. She's now in Toronto. That one is already performing there. There are many people who are already out of the country. Our product that are performing from out of there, they are staying there. We have Nabanja Lehema. She was my product. She's those one are in Ndere. We have Mokoi Godfrey is in Taiwan. They have been there for 2 years, but now because of the COVID, they sent me a message that they have extended them for another 2 years. So they are going to be there for 4 years. So and he has a group there already there. They are performing there. I have Michael Bazibu. I have Mpata Johnny. There are so many that some of them have organized their groups. Some have groups. Others are in performing groups. Others train. We have a gentleman called Semere Paul. Semere Paul is a man. He started from Bakale. And the boy is very good. But we know we have a man called Kibiyaga. Kibiyaga is a very good Kibiyaga Alphonse. Is one of the best traditional trainer of the dancers. So most of these products, and those are the people that we have been working with. Most of these are our students, and they have gone through our hands. That's why I cannot compete with them. Because I'm a musei.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's good to know that at least
it has created employment.
Has given them a platform to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Now the other question would be, now that COVID is here, and you might have to live with COVID for some good time before medicine and all that comes in. What would be the plan for the festivals?
Now the challenges we are going to have, because our schools, these festivals have a timetable. Yes. That the festivals are supposed to be done in the holiday of second term. If you interfere with the system, you cannot push the festivals in third term, because that's the academic term. First term is always sports. The activities are there, the sports and the ball games and whatever. So second term, that is in the holiday of that second term. That's when we are supposed to have the festivals. So now the challenges we're going to have that we want to see if next year, if it happens, and maybe we go back to the normal, we want to see how are we going to handle it. The timetable may change a bit.
Before the normal,
Yes.
is there any virtual plan that you might come up with?
The virtual plan is now to have the musicians, because there are people who are composers.
Yes.
We have people who have the poems, those who have the drama. We can contact these people directly, so that now we come up with some of these things that at the end of the day, when they come, we can produce that thing.
Yes.
After producing, we use it online.
Yes.
Because so that at the end of the day, that choir trainer, that gentleman who has his item, he can benefit from that, because they are very good. They are very good item and educative. Like now, as I talk, people had already organized their plays and poems and dances. So if someone has a very good poem and you look at it, we screen it and we add best where possible, and we can market those things for them, so that at the end of the day, because they are trainers who have been depending only on these festivals. Now you find that for all these 60 or even a whole year, we don't know how they are going, what they are going through.
Mr. Balikoowa, the other question actually you talked about poems. I have issues with the poems I see in festivals, or even in MDD competitions in schools around. For me, it looks like a speech
And the song. I agree with you.
What is a proper poem? How should a proper, African poem I should even add? How should it be?
You know, the problem with our trainers, as I told you, that they are trainers who normally just copy and paste. But a poem, it's just a song. A poem, a poem, when we are dealing with a poem, we are dealing with words.
Yes.
And each word has got a different meaning. You cannot just come and sing and the words as if they are in the same key.
No rhythm,
no
nothing, no tonation, nothing.
Others put even the drums and dance.
Exactly.
That one, the dancing of in a poem for what? Because they want to be creative. They kill the authenticity.
And those are the trainers that attack the adjudicators after they.
Exactly.
You see, people clap.
And even they were laughing. The crowd, even the music, they're enjoying the music. But at the end of the day, that's why I'm saying that when we go into the other world, and we now try to streamline our items, which means that we are going to be looking at these things critically.
Yes.
And possibly you have to edit.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone who comes up with the poem, but if we get people like you edit it. You say this one can't work, this one can't work, we remove this one, so that at the end of the day, we have things which are different. But otherwise, at the end of the day, when you look at our poems, if a poem from the north is the same like the one from the east, is the same like the one from the west, and you wonder,
there is no
how
character.
come no character at all?
Impossible.
It is impossible. So we need to reorganize, and we say the other one now is the plan B. Let us leave the history. Let us now go to the current.
Is a Chevugo poem?
Yes.
Have you got them in the competitions like done in that way? Or the trainers don't think Chevugo is a poem?
The problem, these people, they think that when you are going for the festival, everything must be in English. But you know that in Busoga, there was a gentleman from St. Andrew. He tried to change, he rewrite the thing in English, but then he changes it into vernacular. But do you know that it has been always one of the best? And even in this Kalangala, I've never seen them doing a poem in English. So they do it in local language, and so that even when the child is doing it, they know what they are saying. They get the meaning, but the other one is just cram work. And some of the things, the words are very complicated for the child.
Actually, what these people need to know, the trainers,
yes,
African art is like it has a spirit.
Exactly.
If you hear the UB40 sing, and then you hear Nanuja sing,
yes,
there is a very big difference.
This difference, a very big difference. So that's why I'm saying that, as we are saying, a Chevugo is one of the best poems that someone can present a poetry, because it's poetry.
Exactly.
That someone can come. In fact, this lady can see me. She used to do it, but briefly, just brief in a dance. But if you train that person and it's done very well, even if there are many others that just keep on supporting it, it can be very good.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we can talk until the cows come home.
Yeah.
I know my guy on the camera is panicking. His cards are getting full. These guys are talking.
Yes.
But I really enjoyed our interaction, Mr. Balikoowa.
Thank you.
And it was a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Balikoowa.
Thank you.
And we shall be happy to host you again.
Thank
and
you.
also we are looking forward when the normal comes back to having your teams on the stage of the National Theatre.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh.